So my name's Orlando. I am a social worker and therapist based out in Arlington, Texas. I have my undergrad in theology and I have my master's in social work. I really love the intersection between history, theology, and psychology. That's where I find my true passion.
I have an undergraduate degree in religious studies and practical theology. And that's actually how Orlando and I met. We were in a theology undergraduate program together. And like you mentioned, he went on to get his master's in social work. About 2 years ago, we started having these pretty regular phone conversations. I decided to read the Bible from cover to cover. And I started writing notes down about things that I thought, well, this sounds interesting. I wonder, I'm not sure how I feel about our interpretation of this. And then Orlando hopped on, and we started having these discussions over the years. Um, just realized that we wanted to share those conversations and to continue them with you, because after 2 years of talking to each other, we're like, well, what's really the point of all this, right? What are we going to do with all this research? But what did I miss, Orlando?
I think you pretty much covered it all. And I think COVID provided a really valuable inflection point in our faith because the traditional cadence of going to church every week was interrupted by COVID. And so I know for me that gave me a lot of time to really consider, okay, what is it that I believe in and why do I even believe it? And it's not like, oh yeah, all the stuff I believe is wrong. It just kind of got me to stop and reflect. Okay, like I've been in this tradition for a long time. I know what I believe, and I've taught it to a lot of people. But what are the underpinnings for my beliefs? What are the philosophical underpinnings that undergird my beliefs? And I just had never really taken the time to examine it at that level.
I think one of the big things with this podcast, and we decided to name it Reconstructing. And one of the reasons behind that is the popular phrase deconstructing. We had talked about this, and we're like, okay, we don't want to just dismantle the system of belief, right? We want to examine what we believe, but not to the end of dismantling it, but to really rebuild something more solid, and hopefully just go on this journey of figuring out, is what we've been growing up with, is what we've been taught our entire lives even biblical or even accurate, right? Where do these things come from? And that's really what motivated us to do this.
And we've put in a lot of work looking
Mm-hmm.
into the things that we believe and why we believe it, especially within Adventism, right? Just kind of looking at the various doctrines, looking at, okay, like here's the history as to what led up to the construction of this doctrine, right? So looking into stuff like that, looking into potential issues with the writings of Ellen White. That was a significant point of research for the both of us.